right? So we have seen like how do we work with MVC is the one approach, and the second one is going to be MVVM. But MVVM, I have showed you an example, but we haven't gone through the, let me give word wrap. Yes, but I haven't given any notes of it. So today I'll give the notes for that and I'll upload it. So what is MVVM stands for? Model view and view model. So it is nothing but model view and view model, I can say. MVVM is nothing but model view and view model. It is a software design pattern where it is not required to create models in controller. Generally, when it comes to that MVC, we created the models in the components, right? All the models are going to be configured under the component only as the form of a variable. But if you can follow this approach, we need not to configure anything in the component. Rather, the memory for the models are going to be give okay, the memory that is going to be consumed over here is completely from the template only. That means we are not going to use any kind of resources when it comes to that. That means models are configured in, okay, our models are configured in the memory of templates, that what I can say. Templates, that what I can say, whenever it updates, okay, no need to do anything in controller. That means the complete updations will be taken care from where? From where? Tell me. Template itself. Because like if you can see, last example, here, the second one you see, enter username and enter password. I created the models also directly within the application itself, right? That means in the template only I defined it. So that is how it is going to be. We need to configure each and everything. That means the models also uses the memory of the template, and that is what we call it as a view model and a model view. And in order to access the data, we use value property. We use which property? Value property. And also we have many properties configured. Okay, we have like many properties configured. Like suppose, let's say I have an input element, an input type equal to, let me give text over there, and after that I am giving some ID or whatever you want to give, you can just give it over there. Then how to do that MVVM? First we will be using what? Ng model, and after that I'll be creating a variable, and the variable name can be anything, and that is nothing but the model name. So whatever the variable name we wanted to create, you can give any name. As per this requirement, I'll be giving what? Username as the variable name, and this variable, what technically we call it as a template reference variable. Okay, technical name is going to be template reference variable, and from here what I want to do is I am using ng model for one more time. That's it. So this is my input element that I have created with the help of what? MVVM architecture. And in an MVVM architecture, This is the template that what we are calling. That means the view. View is nothing but the HTML. Now within model or not? Yes or no? Model means what? The variables or else the data where you people have stored. That is what we call it as a model. That means I stored my data, whatever I am getting from the user, directly in the memory of the template. Directly in the memory of the template. And at the same time, whenever if user has updated any value in the text box, the same value is updated over here also, right? Yes or no? And here to get the value, then what you can do is we will be using something like username dot value, that what we are using. When I'm using that, when the user is updated any value from this input element, then automatically we will be getting the value to this particular place. Like the way how we have the value, we have like many properties are available, and those properties are something like property. I mean, those properties are going to be, let's say, username dot pristine is available, and then username dot dirty is available, and then username dot touched is available, and then username dot untouched is available, etc. That what we are having. That means we have like lot of properties that are available by default, which will come whenever if you are following this approach. Now, what is pristine, what is dirty, what is touched, what is untouched, we will understand more about this one once we start the forms development. But right now, I'm not going to explain you anything about the form. We will be using what? The normal, just for an example, how the two-way data binding is going to be. A simple example that I have taken. But with respect to the form, we will be having a separate session, and it will take 2 sessions to complete all the forms implementation, and then following with the validation part. Because without validation, we never imagine any kind of input from the user. If there is no validation, then unnecessary data will be stored on the database server, right? And databases are more costlier. That is the reason sometimes you people are getting the messages from the banks. Suppose you opened like a bank account 10 years back and you are not going to use it, then you are getting a message or not. If you are not using your account, then you will be charged some amount. Are you getting that messages or not? Because like maintaining the data is not a simple task. 1 terabyte of SQL Server database is cost around 3 lakh per annum. 3 lakhs, 1 terabyte. 1 TB of the data is 3 lakh. Just imagine like that how many unnecessary accounts are maintained by the bank. It is hectic process only, right? But as the I mean, we are the technical people, so that we come to know like what happened internally. But non-technical people, what they are asking, why you are charging? Or if you are not using it, why they are maintaining your data in their account or else in their server? Maintenance is not an easy task. That is the reason where they are charging like, you know, that amount, like minimum balance amount. But that is not good. If you are using that account, that is fine. But unused accounts are there, definitely. I created my account, you know, at 2007 in SBI. I never used it. Still, I am getting the messages from the bank. I asked them to close, but they asked me 5,000 or 6,000 negative. I don't want to pay. You can keep that account like that. If I deposit, then they can. I don't want to deposit in that account. They don't have a right to delete that account also until unless we give that acknowledgement. That is the reason they are doing like these many charges. So that is the main reason where any data that you people can take, okay, any data that you people can take, that is going to be 100% accurate data in practical environment. So in that scenario, validations are important, and still we didn't discuss about that. So I'll take a separate session on the forms later. And one question what someone asked me is, Shrikant, what kind of situations we will be using a template reference variable? We don't have a particular reason to go with the template. I mean, MVVM architecture. It's not the template reference. It's all about MVC is one approach, MVVM another approach. If you people are having very limited number of input elements, very limited number of input elements, if you can have, then at that time it's better to go with MVVM. No, Srikanth, in my project, everybody is using MVC, so that I'll be following that. Means you can go with MVC also. That means it's all depend on the complexity of the form that you're going to create. Suppose if the form is having like say 50 to 60 fields are available, I always suggest you to go with MVC approach. If there are like, 1 to 2 fields like the login form, and in some websites, if you can open, enter your email for subscribe the newsletter. We have one text box, one button only we are having, right? Then at that time, why should I create a separate variable, and why should I make an unnecessary another request? It is another request only, right? From template to the component, that is one request only. Why should I maintain that kind of request, even if it is a simple requirement? In that scenario, always I suggest you to go with MVVM by creating the template reference variable. Otherwise, always no, Srikanth, even if it is simple form, I'll go with MVC mean, you can go with that also. That is also fine. Okay, but we have two options here. Whatever like you wanted to use, you can, but it's all depend on your architecture level. Suppose in your project, most of the people they are using MVC, then follow it. If the people are using MVVM, then you can follow, because this approach, we have it from version 1.0. That is, sorry, 2.0 onwards, we have this approach, and MVC was came at around like 4.0 or something. Both are supported, but according to my experience, I am telling you, if you have very less number of input element, better to go with what? MVVM. If you are having more number, then better to go with what? MVC approach. Anything is fine. Clear? Right. Now here, this is how all about the MVC and MVVM. I'll close all. Sorry. MVC and MVVM. Now, as I told you, we will be understanding today how do we call the real world APIs. First, I will show you just like, the display purpose, and later like, we are going to insert the data, update the data, delete the data by using RxJS, like how we can do that. Because right now, I don't want to discuss anything about RxJS. That is reactive extension for JavaScript, which was introduced by the Angular team. What it will do is it will connect with the data, APIs, and get the data. That means it will make the HTTP calls. But in order to perform those HTTP calls in general, we have a different approach. That means in jQuery, we have a different approach. And in, let's say, React, we have a different approach. Angular, we have different approach. And the same way, JavaScript is also having a different approaches that what we are having. Now, what I want to do, I am going to use the jQuery fetch method in order to connect with the API and get the data. Now, what is API here? API stands for Application Programmable Interface. That means it is an interface between the front-end application and the back-end application. Generally, what is the requirement of connecting with the back-end application? What is the requirement in general, tell me? To get the data only, right? Yes or no? To get the data or to store the data, we are connecting with the back-end application. Nothing apart from that one. If there is no data at the back end, is it really required to connect with the database? Is it really required to connect with that API? Obviously, no. That means APIs are nothing but application programmable interface, which is used to provide an interface between the front-end application and back-end application in the form of data. In the form of data, that what we are having. Now, you see, we have like different APIs are available, but most of the time, I am going to use this API, where this API will provide you the data. Now, what is Shrikant? You said it is an API, but you opened a website here. Yes, it is a website. What this website will do is it will provide you some dummy data to you. And that data we are integrating within our Angular application. Then Shrikant, what about in the real time? Real time also the same. In real time, this data is prepared by the Java, or this data is prepared by the .NET web services or web API, and then they will be giving it to you a simple URL, and you connect with that URL and get the data. That is how the real time integration is going to be. But I don't want to focus more on the back end. First, we will understand half of the part, and at the end, I will show you how to connect with the backend application by taking a simple example also. Now, here you see, I'll be opening something like, we have like, the product. When I click on here, am I able to see like all the product details here or not? See this? We have like many. This is the 1 and 2 and 3. You see there. We have like, different product details that we are having. And this is what we call it as a JSON object. And JSON is having inside an array. You see there. Because we have multiple JSONs. Multiple JSON objects are available. And each JSON object is associated in the array format. That is how it is going to be. This is the first one. And same way, you can see when I come back here, what happened? Now you see, when I give, let's say, products of 1, is it able to get the first product details or not? Yes or no? What is rate at here? I don't know what data they are giving. My requirement is going to be displaying purpose. That's it. Okay. Because like we are getting like huge data and we are not going to take care about it, like what it is going to be. Just we can take it and then display. That is our requirement. Unnecessary things like are not required. What rate will do, what image will do, what count will do. I don't know that. Okay. Those are unnecessary actually. Now you see, when it comes to the category, now it is giving me all the category information. That means, Shrikant, why you have taken this font means I can prepare myself, but it's going to be a huge file, right? Every time if I create the data, then for the data only, it will take half of the session. Definitely. Preparing the dummy data is not a simple task. If I prepare like, 3 to 4 objects, and if I'm modifying that, you see, first one and the title and the price, like that, if I'll be modifying it, definitely it will take more time, right? Obviously, it will take more time. I don't want to prepare the data like that, because even in real time also, we'll be taking the data by connecting to this particular services. So that is the reason I will show you how we can do that. But how I can do that one? To do that, I used a method that is what we call it as a fetch method, that what I am using. Now you see, in the fetch method, you can see when I am giving https://fakestoreapi.com/product, when I am giving 1, am I able to get the first product details here or not? The same way, if you can go here, and when I am giving in place of 1, if I am giving 2, I am able to see the second product details here. When I am giving, let's say, 3, I am able to see the third product details here. Now, to interact with this particular APIs, I am using a method that is what we call it as a fetch method is available. You see, this is the fetch. Now, Shrikant, what is fetch is here? Fetch is used to perform the API calls. And this is a jQuery method. You can see jQuery fetch. jQuery fetch. What is the difference between? Yes, using jQuery fetch. A fetch API provides the JavaScript interface for accessing and manipulating the parts of the protocol, such as the request and response. And it also provides global fetch method that provides an easy logical way to fetch the resources asynchronously across the network. That means the data is available at some other place. To connect from our application to some other place, we need to have an interface, right? That interface is nothing but the fetch API that what we are having. A fetch API provides an interface to fetching the resources across the network. It is a more powerful and flexible replacement of XML HTTP request. Earlier, we have this one in JavaScript, and now we have what? Fetch method is available. Now you can observe the fetch method, how it is going to be. By default, the fetch method is accepting the first argument as going to be the URL endpoint or else URL something. Suppose let's say I'm getting the data from fake store API as I told you, and once if I hit the request like this, then I'm able to see like the first record details or not. That means this is what we call it as endpoint, and some people may call it as URL, stands for uniform resource locator, or else some people may call it as URI, and some people may call it as a simple method to get the data. Okay, anything it is. Now by connecting with this particular one, I'm able to get the data, and that URL you can give it in the fetch over there. That is the first one. And then you see it return the result, right? It gives the result. By default, the fetch will give the data in the form of binary format. But the Angular application will accept the data only in which format? Either it is in array or it is in JSON, or it is a simple variable. But we have like, different formats of the data based on the services that what we have. That means we have SOAP-based data, simple object access protocol, which gives you the data in the form of XML. And also we have REST-based protocol, representational state transfer protocol, which gives the data in the form of XML or in the form of JSON also. And we have JSON protocols are available, which gives you the data only in the form of what? JSON formatted only. That means the data that what we are fetching by connecting with that API, that must be always in the form of what? JSON. Shrikant, if the API is not giving me the data in the form of JSON, then you should ask them, I'm not allowing. That means my front-end application is not allowed to bind the data if it is rather than the JSON format. Okay, then that's a back-end people headache. It is always they have to convert the data in the respective format, and then they will be giving it to you. That is the reason nowadays the Java people, you heard something like RESTful web services. Have you heard that one? Yes or no? That is very important as per the current industry. Microservices. I hope you heard it, right? That is important. When it comes to .NET point of view, web APIs are important. Web API core is important. Understand? Web API is important and core is important. But apart from that one, Java people, you people are having web services also there, right? Which will return the data in the form of XML, which works with SOAP-based protocol. Do you know that? Right now, as per the current market, that is outdated. Complete data is going to be in REST only. That is the reason maybe it was not explained. But earlier what happened, for Java people, you guys are having the web services which works with the help of SOAP-based protocol and which gives the data in the form of XML. And .NET people, WCF is available, Windows Communication Foundation, that is going to work with the help of SOAP only and gives the data in the form of XML. But nowadays, the front-end application development is having great market. That means always we think about the performance of that application, as we have like number of people that started using the web. Compared with when I started my career, the web developers and the web users are going to be very less. But right now, everybody is completely in the internet. Everybody is using the web. So that is the reason performance is also one of the very important metric to build that application. That is the reason all these client side technologies are evolved. Otherwise, like no need. We can do everything by using Java, and we can do everything by using .NET, by writing simple HTML, CSS, and basic JavaScript. But why all these Angular and these are required means to achieve the great performance. And this Angular is also having the limitation that if you can give me the data of type JSON, then only I don't. Like that it is going to be. Then it's back-end headache. That is Java people or .NET people. They have to convert. That is where the concept, I hope you already learned, serialization and deserialization. Understand? You can relate everything. Whatever you are learning, you can relate to the real world. That is only the reason it is all about serialization and deserialization concept. Now, here, this fetch method will gives us the data in the form of what? Binary. But binary is not accepted. That is the reason what they are doing. They are converting the result into what? JSON. And after converting, they are consuming that particular data. Whatever the data we are having, that data they are going to accepting it. That is what all about the fetch method will do. Understood? Clear na? Right. Now we will understand with an example. So fetching the data or else connecting with fake store API. Connecting with fake store API. So that means as an Angular developer, we will be always connect with real world APIs in order to let me just give me a minute. In order to real world APIs, in order to fetch the data, and in order to fetch the data and display within the application. That means we have to connect with the real world API in order to fetch the data and display the data within the application. And here we have, that means in general, we have two types only, mostly. Two types of protocols which we are using in backend to share the data. That means in the backend we have two types of specification or protocol. The first one is going to be we have SOAP, and second one is going to be we have the REST. And where SOAP stands for Simple Object Access Protocol, and the second one REST stands for Representational Transfer Protocol. State transfer, SOAP stands for Simple Object Access Protocol, and REST stands for Representational Transfer Protocol. Now what it will do, SOAP will return the data, in XML format. It return the data in XML format as request and response. That means the request is of type an XML and the response is also type of XML that what we are having. Now REST, if you can take, it gives the data in the form of, it returns the data in the form of JSON. That means the request and response both are in JSON format. Both are going to be JSON format, that what we are having. Both are going to be in the form of JSON only. And if like your API is following this principle or this protocol, then only you are able to bind the data to an Angular application. If your API is following SOAP based protocol, then you cannot bind. For that reason, we'll do what? The serialization and deserialization at the back end and return the data in the form of JSON format. That is how it is. But nowadays, SOAP is, I can say, hardly we used it 10% of the project. That to the very old projects are there, right? Legacy projects, we have the SOAP. But the current complete IT industry, the endpoints and the backend services are following which protocol? REST-based protocol. Don't ask me more about this one. As I'm a full stack developer, I'm explaining this, but the Angular faculties, nobody will explain you about these two also. Directly, they're explaining the fetch method. The one problem that what I'm facing in sessions is I have an experience in backend and the front end. So I'm relating like all those things. Now, again, the people are asking Srikant why to use the REST and why to create the REST mean. Then I have to explain the web API by creating. But this is not the backend application, right? It's all about like, you know, the front end application development. Just these are like you can learn directly with your backend application development. What is REST means, what it will do, and how it is going to be followed, and how to prepare the request, and how to prepare the request body. What are the HTTP status codes we are having? Each and everything that you can understand. Okay, that you can understand in your application development, the backend only. Okay, it's all about the backend. SOAP and REST, these are the backend concept. You will be understanding there only. Okay, not here. But why I specified here is it's all about to connect with our Angular application. The API should follow what protocol? REST-based protocol, and always it should give the data in the form of JSON. That's it. That you can remember. That's fine. Okay, that's fine. Now to connect with that, to connect with endpoints, jQuery provides jQuery or JavaScript provides a method or else an interface. Oh, okay, I don't want to write that interface. A method that is what we call it as fetch. Okay, fetch is the method that what we are having. Fetch is the method that we are having. Now I'll be giving the syntax of the fetch here. This is going to be the syntax over there. Now what this syntax will consist of? It contain the URL. That means fetch method is having what? A URL over here, and this URL that you can get it from your backend development. Backend people, they will give you the endpoint URL, and you can take that URL and giving it over there. By default, fetch will takes the data in the form of what? Binary. Generally, it gives the data in the form of binary, so that I'm converting binary to the JSON by using which method? .json method, that what I am using. That means once if you are connecting with that, then we are retrieving the data, and that data by default it will be in the form of binary, so that I'll convert it into the JSON by having this particular method. Now someone asked me, Srikant, what it is exactly? This is what we call it as lambda expression. That is nothing but a function, a simple function it is. Okay, simplification of the function it is. You can see here equal to and less than is there, right? That is what we call it as goes to. Okay, the symbol name is goes to in the practical, and it is a simplification of the functions, the normal function. Result can be anything. It's simple variable. Whatever the name you want to give, you can give. Even you can give my name also. Okay, that's up to you. Any name you can give, your name, my name, whatever you want to give, you can. Generally, why they have given RES here is RES stands for the response. They assume that after connecting this URL, we are getting the response only, right? That response, for that convention purpose, they have given RES here. After getting the response, you can get the data with any of the variable again. That's up to you. So this is how the fetch API is going to be. That means the API that what we are having. Now what I want to do, I'm going to show you a simple example. How do we connect with that? And tomorrow onwards, we will start working with the directive. So tomorrow I'll create a new project. But for today, what I want to do is I'll be using the same project that what we are having in the data binding only. Okay. So the first thing is I'll go to my app folder, and here you see, generally if you open, this is how your JSON data is going to be, right? Yes or no? That means the API should connect with that and accept the data only if it is coming in this particular format, or else our front-end application should display the data only if the data is there in this particular format, right? Otherwise, I don't want to allow. Otherwise, I don't want to allow. Then how you can restrict the user to enter or to take a particular data? How you can restrict? Tell me how you can restrict. By using what generally? How you can restrict, man? A simple question I asked here. Now let's say I have, I'm sorry. Let's say notepad. Okay. Now you can see if I'll be creating x is equal to 10, how I can restrict the user to enter only the number? By specifying the, very good, by specifying what? Data type. That means here I can give the data type of an integer. Sorry, it's Java. Okay. I can specify it as going to be, the type as going to be the number, so that if user has entered any number, which is not going to be, I mean, if user is not entered any other than the number, then I am throwing an error or not. That means data types are used to restrict the user to get or assign a value to a variable of a particular type. Now, the same way, if you are getting some data from the API, or if you are getting the data from the backend application also, we should have some restriction that if the data is a particular type, then only I'll bind. Otherwise, I don't want to bind. Like that, we need to set the restriction. That is the reason where we have already learned about the contract classes. Did you remember? I explained about you the interfaces in the TypeScript. Interfaces are used to implement the contracts. Contract. If you, I don't know like whether you remember or not, but I have explained about that one. Interfaces are used to implement the contract. In the same way, here also I'll create a contract. Generally, to create the contract, we use the interfaces. So how I can do that one? I'll be using something like, let's say JSON to TypeScript. If I'm using TypeScript contract, if you can type, there we have like, many are available, and in that, like, you can select one. Okay, any one you can select. Okay, it is not allowing you. This is also not. Let's say JSON to TypeScript. When I go with that, no. Right. Now you see, I'll be copying that and paste it over here. The time when I paste it here, am I able to get that interface or not? And this interface is what we call it as contract. Now what I want to do, I wanted to create a simple contract class. Always, even in your case also, whenever if you are getting the data, then you should create the contract of that particular type. Shrikant, then how I come to know that what type of data they are giving? That is the reason we always have the API documentation. That means what is the request you need to give, and what are the certificates has to be given as the part of the request, and what is the response you are getting by connecting with that API. Each and everything is going to be documented. You need not to worry. If you not getting the documentation, you can ask your backend team, what type of data we are getting. Once I connect with this API, could you please let me know so that I can create the contract class? Then definitely they will give you the complete request and response. The complete request and response both are going to be, you can find it from the backend team. Now here, I am a person like who played both the roles, back end and front end. I know that like, by connecting with this API, I'm getting the data of this particular type. So that I created a contract class, something like that. Now I'll copy it. Shrikant, why this tool? Why don't you create manually? I can create manual, but if the data is going to be huge, then definitely that is a challenging task, right? As these are basic examples so that we can do like, the manual, but in your real time, you will be working on huge data. If you don't know about these tool, creating this contract classes only will take a minimum half day. Okay, ID, yes, ID is there, name is there. Like that, if you can write by your own, it will take more time, right? Always be a smart worker, not the hard worker. Always smart work. Smart work is very important. That is where I told you, like, don't learn anything like, by copy paste. I mean, while practicing, that is where I told you, people are writing that example. And after that, what many of the people are doing, they simply seeing that and then typing. That even without learning Angular also, we can do the typing, right? Why should we here? If we can go to like, any of like, I mean, here only we have many. If we can go to like some Photoshop, I mean, photo studios, they have the type mission, they can do the same thing, right? And if you are doing also the same thing, what is it? Be a smart worker. You can just use the tools. That's always good. But like while practicing, don't like, copy paste as it is. Now, this is my contract that I have created. I'll be copying that and I'm going to use it in my project. So generally, we have a separate folders are created, but right now I don't want to create. If you want me to create, I can, not an issue. I'll right click, add a new folder, and the name of the folder is going to be contract. Now in this folder, I'll create a new class, and the class is going to be, this is what I can say, product dot contract dot ts, that what I can give, and I'm going to paste it over here. Okay, product dot contract dot ts, that what I am using. And here by default they are giving with some dummy name. You can create the names of your product or else names of your contract class based on your requirement. Now this is all is used to maintain what data? Product information, right? Dummy product information. You see, this is all like, the dummy product information. So that what I can do, the naming convention also, let's say fake product. Maybe I can give fake product, or else fake is not good word. So product details I can give. Okay, product detail, where I'm having ID, title, price, description, category, image that we are having, rating. And here in the rating again, you see we are having two more fields. Shrikant, can't we create one? Yes, you can do that also. If you wanted to create it as one, then what you can do is remove it. Okay, and then cut it and then paste it here. Then no need to maintain this interface also. That is also fine. Okay, that means the way how you are going to define your contract class, that's up to you. But in my real time, I use these tools only. I don't want to write by my, manual. It is not required. Now this is how it is going to be. Now fine, this is done. The next step is going to be, we just wanted to have what? A component that needs to display this particular data or not. Yes or no? We need to have a component, and that component connect with the API and display the data. That is our requirement. How we can do that? I wanted to create a component. How to create the component? How to create the component? Tell me. Right. We'll be right click and go to the integrated terminal. That's where I told you. Use what? CLIs to do that. I'll be using the CMD here and write a component ngg. G for the generate, C for the component, and the name of the component is going to be, what component it is? Product component. So that already we have the product component. I'll be using product details API component. I'll be using, and hyphen skip hyphen test, that what I can give, and say okay. then automatically a component will be created. Now you see product details, API is the component that what it creates. Now I wanted to run this component first. For that, I need to set some steps. I need to follow some steps. How do we make this component as the startup? What are the steps has to be followed? First thing is going to be very good. Tell me, everyone, bootstrap it, right? I'll go to my app module.ts, and what I'm doing, I'll copy this and then bootstrap it. Okay, first step is done. What is the next step? What is the next step? Tell me. Index.html. What I'll be doing in index.html? Right, we'll copy the, tell me, we'll copy the selector. Whatever the selector we are having, we will copy that particular selector and then go to which file here? Index.html, and in index.html, I'll be adding it over there. That's it. Okay, it is done. Now you can see I'm doing like, the basic step in order to run the application. Fine, it is done. Now I wanted to run the application. Yesterday, I saw like, some question from WhatsApp group, that is Srikanth, when I use ngs or else ngs-o and then run, it is giving me an error, cannot determine the project for command. The multi-project workspace more than one is available. Run with ng server. You can see and give the project to execute it. And some people, what they have done, cd space, they open like, the folder, and here they are running ngs-o, and this is that error message they are getting. But it's okay, because like it is very initial days. If you are getting that error message, you're trying. I always appreciate for your efforts for that. But what this error is, this command is not available when running that Angular CLI outside the workspace. Now, what is workspace mean? Workspace is nothing but your framework. Okay, workspace is nothing but your framework. Where you have your framework, all the framework means what? Library. Where you have all the library, node module folder, right? So that means the path should be always, if you run from here, do we have the node modules folder? Do we have node modules here? No, that is the reason it is throwing me an error. This command is not available when running that Angular CLI outside the workspace. That means, Srikanth, you're outside the workspace. I didn't find the node module. That is what this error means. So that what I can do, I'll dig one step into the folder, that is Angular projects is the one that we are having. When I open that Angular project, am I able to find the node modules here or not? Yes or no? Now this time you see, when I run the same command, ngs-o, we will be having a different error now. What is that error? Cannot determine the project for command. This is a multi-project workspace. That means I used workspace, and in my workspace, how many projects I'm having? 2 projects. One is components demo. Another one is what? Data binding. That means 2 projects that I'm having. That is the reason. This is a multi-project workspace. More than one project supports this. Run the command. What is the command? ng serve. What it is? The name of the project has to be. To execute the command for a specific project or change the current environment or current working directory to the project directory, and available projects are what we are having: components demo and data binding. Now, if you wanted to run from here, you will be using ng serve. What we are using? Data binding. When I say about okay, now you see it is executing that project or not. This is fine. Now, what is this step? Right now, yesterday, whatever I'm following, I'll directly open the project and I'm executing with the NGS-O, right? That is what it is going to be. There are different options, but if you really try, then only you will understand all these things. Okay, now you see Angular Live Server development is listening on a port number localhost 4200. Open your browser and then click with this, click on this, press the control and click on it. Now you can see product details. API is working fine or not? Yes or no? Yeah, we can use shortened names also. Raju, it's okay. Okay, now it is working perfectly. Now it's time for connecting with that API and then display the data to the user. That is what our requirement. So how I can do that one? So for that, I'll open my application and we have the component, and this is how my component is going to be. First, I'll declare the data. That means with some default value. So how I can do that? Public. I'll be using product, which is of type what? Which is of type what? Product details is equal to, now you see we have what? ID. Okay, is equal to, I'll be giving 0. I'm sorry. I'll be giving 0. And second one is going to be, we have what? Category, which is of type string, so that I can give some empty value. After that, image, and which is of type string I can give. Now you see, until unless I'm giving all the value, this will be an error. That is what the restriction. It is restricted the data only if it comes in this format only, it will allow. If it is coming in a different format, it won't allow you. That is what the restriction. Now you can see the next one, description. I'll be giving an empty value. After that, we have the price. Price is going to be maybe of type number. And then we have the title. Title is a string. I'll be giving. After that, you see, we have the rating. And the rating internally will be having to count is 0. After that, we have rate. Rate is also going to be 0. That's it. I'm initializing with what? Some default value. Right. Default value, that what I am giving it over there. And now the next step is going to be, we just wanted to get the data from the API by connecting. So to do that one, I'll be writing a method, a simple method, that what I'll be writing here, load products, that what I'll be using, or else get product. Okay, get product. And here I'm asking the user to enter an ID, because right now we haven't discussed anything about the directive, so that I'll be getting only one product from there. Maybe I'll do one thing. I'll be doing the increment. Next button I'll provide, and then I'll make the calls so that it would be easy. So now here I'll be giving an ID which is of type number, and then I'm going to get the products. Now what I'm doing, I created a simple product, get products method here, right? You learned already the TypeScript methods. Is it any difference here? No, right? Now what I can do, I'm going to get the data now. So how to get the data here? So to get the data, we use what? Fetch. And fetch method, you see, it is asking me to pass. What it is asking me? The URL. Where the data is available, it is asking me that URL. Now you can see, I have my data over here, right? Yes or no? I have my data here or not? In this API only I'm having the data. API means don't think the back end, it's always front end. In front end point of view, API is nothing but the URL. Now I'm having this data here, so that I'll copy that and then giving it over there. If I'm executing get product, always it is getting the first product detail. But I wanted to get the product detail based on the ID value. So that what I can do here, I'll be giving an ID. Everyone is clear until here? Or any doubts? Please ask me. Everyone is clear? Yes or no? Because it is very important. You will be getting interview question like this only. Nothing apart from that. Most of the interview questions, how to connect with your services. That is like, The one important interview question that you are getting. Right. Now you see, okay, I'm explaining one more time. Now you see what is my expectation is going to be. What I'm trying to do is, because we are not learning to iterate the table and to iterate the fields by using the directive. What I am planning, in this example, first initially I'll get one product details I'll display. After that, below I'll provide two button, the pagination, next and previous. I'll provide two button. When user click on next button, I'll increment the count. So that suppose if it is 1, I'll be using count plus plus. So it will be 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like that. Same way, when user click on left less than button or something, then what I want to do, I just want to do the decrement. That means suppose if I'm in, like, let's say 6th product, then it will become 5, then it will become 4, then it will become 3, like that it is going to be. That is what I'm trying to do. Okay, that is what I'm trying to do. That is my requirement. So for that reason, every time when user change the count, I'll connect with that API. Every time when the user decrease the count also, I'll connect with that API. That means I'll execute the logic for multiple time based on the user interaction, right? If that is the case, what is the best solution? Writing a method. If I write this method and call the method by giving that ID, then this logic will get executed or not. That is what I am trying to do. For that, what I am doing, I have a fetch method here, and fetch, what it will do, it is accepting a URL to me, and that URL I'm providing, and here I'm giving the ID as going to be the dynamic value. And then you can see we have then catch finally are available. I don't want to go like, with the remaining. And then what I want to do, whatever the output we are getting, I'm going to convert it into the JSON format, so that use any variable. I am using the response variable, response dot, I'll convert it into the JSON. Now this is step 1, converting into the JSON. Second step is what? Whatever the data we are converting, that data need to be assigned to this product, right? Because it is a local variable I created in my class. So that what I can do, I'm going to use it. So that what I can do, again I'm using then, okay, again I'm using then, use any variable, it doesn't matter. I'll be using, if you wanted to go with RES only, you can, that is also fine. Response, and here what I can do, this dot product is equal to whatever the response we are getting, I can give it over there. That's it. Did you understand? I write two methods here. First method, what it will do, it will convert the response into the JSON. Second method, it will get the response and bind with the front end application, that is in the TypeScript, like it is getting applied. Clear? Now this method I wanted to execute when my component is loaded. How to execute a method when the component is loaded is, for that reason we have life cycle hooks are available. What is the concept? Component life cycle hook is the concept. What it is doing, it will be having different stages for the component, and each stage is having some method. We will be understanding more detail about that later, but now what I want to do, I'll be using that method here, and the method is going to be ng on init, that what I can give. This is exactly similar to the load method, page load in ASP.NET, and for JSP also we have page life cycle is there, right? For JSP, there we have the load method is available or not, which will be executed whenever you execute that application. Same way, when the component is executed, by default, when the Angular component is executed, by default one method will be called, that is ng on init, which will be executed automatically. Now here I am going to call get products by passing the id as 1 here. Okay, by id as 1 here. I'm just writing something like this. Until here, do we have any questions? Please let me know. Everyone is clear? Very good. Now what we want to do, we just want to display this particular data in our front end application. For that, I'll go to my HTML page. Now here we have the HTML, and in the HTML, what I want to do, I'll be using some bootstrap classes. As I told you, that's your choice to learn about the bootstrap. I'll go with the div, and where I'm giving the class as going to be container or container fluid, anything you can give. I'll take the h2, and these are going to be product details that what I'll be giving. And after that, I'll be taking some DL tag. Okay, DL tag where I can give the DT, and the name is, first I'll be giving the title over here. Okay, and then I'll be giving the DD, and from where the title is available, you see the title is available here, right? Yes or no? This is an object. Now what I can do, how I can get it? We have what? Product dot, we have what? Title. You can give like this. That means we created what? Product. Inside the product we are having title is available. I'm going to displaying it. Clear na? Clear or not? And the next one is going to be, next one you can see, this is the first one. Like that, you can display the second one also. Maybe I can give price here. Now here product dot price has to be given. I'll copy that and then giving it over there. And the third one is going to be, we will be having another DT here. And the third one is going to be anything, maybe image if you wanted to display, there you can go with that. The third one, I don't want to display like everything. Maybe like image that what I'll be giving, that is going to be preview, and where I can give a DD, and I'll be using an image tag. And how to display? By using which binding? Which binding? Attribute binding. Okay, attribute binding. Very good. I am using the product dot, we have what? Image is available. I'll be giving that, and then height and width. Height is going to be around 150, and also width is also going to be 150. That what I can give. That's it. So this is how it is going to be. Okay, this is how it is going to be. And the next one is going to be what we are having. Maybe like price if you want to display. Price is done. Now rating. Okay, I'll be displaying the rating over here. So that let's have the DT, and I'm giving the ratings over here. And to display the rating, I'll be using let's say bootstrap icon, like kind of stars you are getting, right? Like that I'll be using. It's a dummy data only. There is nothing over here. I'll be taking a span class, and then I'm using bootstrap icon. After that, bootstrap icon hyphen star hyphen fill, that what I'll be using, and then it will be display the span. After that, what I want to do, I'll be displaying product dot rating. Now you can see product dot rating is available. Rating is available. In that we are having what? Rate is available, so that I can get that particular one. Okay. And the same time, I want to display what? The remaining things also. Product dot rating dot count is required, so that what I can do, I'll be copying the count and get it over here. That's it. Right? Understood this one? Tell me. Any questions from here? Or any questions from online where you people are not understood? Tell me. Because simple examples I don't want to entertain. If that example is gives you the confusion, that means it is complex. Then only you will understand it in a better way once you step into the industry. Otherwise, like, it's completely. Why are two type written? Two type means here. Just this is display purpose. Just for display purpose. I want to just display. That's it. Nothing apart from that. Now you can see that output even here. The application is loading and I'm able to see the product details or not. Yes or no? You see the title is this one and the price is going to be 109.95, and then we have the preview, and then we don't, Karthik, I already informed you, we are not implementing any validations right now at this moment. We'll be doing the validations later. If you want to do, you can try. I really appreciate. But right now, I'm not implementing any validations. Right, next, line number 16. Guys, nothing, man, like I'm just displaying it. If I take, let's say, to see how the output is here, I'm displaying the product rating and then following with the price. That's it. Just it's a display purpose I have taken. Nothing apart from that. If you want me to, like, add two tag, then I can do that one. Use the map to fetch the data. Why map? What we are learning here? Radha Krishna. We are not learning, like, the whole jQuery, right? That is where. In jQuery, we have like lot of methods are available that you can try, but here it is Angular. I don't want to go with that. Generally, like, we are not using even this fetch also in the practical. We have RxJS library is available, reactive extension for JavaScript. But Shrikant, why you are explaining this means, because I told you like many times, I wanted to be a smart worker, not a hard worker. Why should I prepare, like, the dummy data every day? If I explain one time this one, then definitely tomorrow onwards, I need not to prepare the dummy data, right? Yes or no? For preparation of dummy data, only if half of the session is done, then when I can explain that example. That is only the reason I explained about the fetch. Otherwise, it is not the part of Angular. It is not at all part of Angular. Just it's all about, like, my laziness. Because of my laziness, why should I prepare the dummy data? If I explain, like, one endpoint connection, then I can have all the data with me so that I can show you that. Even in your real time also, you will be doing the same, but approach is different. Approach is different. Just because of that reason, I'm explaining this one. Don't expect, like, the whole jQuery. If you want, I'll start a new batch later, maybe, then you can join. Okay, it's not the time here to discuss about map and etc. etc. Okay, now anything else? Right. Now, okay, this is what we are having. Let me quickly finish that. Now we display the data, and after that, what I want to do is I'll be taking two buttons here. Let's have the button. The first button is going to be, I'll be giving the class equal to, I'm giving some bootstrap classes, BTN, and then BTN hyphen success, that what I'll be giving. And then I'm giving some bootstrap class here, ME2 for that margin and all. I'll give a div and then create it. And for this one, I'll be giving a class is going to be margin top to that what I can give. So this is how it is going to be. The first button I have created like this, and then I don't want to give any text here. Rather, I'll take a tag, and inside the tag for this span, I'll be giving the classes. Span, it's a bootstrap icon, and bootstrap icon hyphen. 1 second, I'll copy paste. Bootstrap icon chevron is there. Right. This is what, like, that icon, that what I want to have, so that I'll copy this. Okay. And then I'll be pasting it over here. Bootstrap icon and bootstrap icon hyphen whichever one left I can give. First I'll be giving what? Left, and then the same thing I'll copy and then giving it over here, and this is the place where I can give right. Now you can observe the design how it would be. Okay, is it visible to all? Okay, this is what left and right, that's it. This is what, like, the bootstrap icons will do. That is the reason I installed two packages. One is bootstrap, another one is bootstrap icon. Now when user click on here, then I want to move one step. When user click on here, then I want to go back. That is my requirement. So how I can do that? For that reason, I'll create two methods here. The first method is going to be previous click. When user click on the previous button, then what I want is I'm going to decrement the value. Okay, I'm going to decrement the value. For that, I'll create a count variable, count equal to, which is of type, count is what? Number, and I'm giving initial value as going to be 1, that what I can give. Initial value is going to be 1, that what I can give. And then what I want to do, I'm calling what? We have the method, that is what method? Get products is the method, and then I'll be passing the count, this dot count, by decrementing the value. So that what I can do, I'm using this dot count equal to this dot count minus 1, that what I'm using. That means it's a previous. Understood this one? Is it clear this step? Initially I created a count variable and then giving it to 1. Okay, and if you want, you can pass it here also. If you can pass it here, this start count, then that should be fine. Now at the same time, I'll copy this and I'm having another method that is going to be next click. When you click on the next, I'll be incrementing the count and then give that particular count. Understood? Yes or no? Right. Now the thing is here, we wanted to use these methods when user click on the buttons, right? Yes or no? When user click on the button, we wanted to execute. We wanted to execute those methods. That is what about the event binding. I told you we will see like many examples with that, but right now I explain you one event, that is click event. By default, when user click on the button, the click event will be happen. Now what is an event? What is an event? Event is nothing but an action performed by the user. That means when you open a web page, you people are interacting with the web page either by using the mouse or by using the keyboard, right? That is what we call it as action between you and your application. And that interaction, technically we call it as actions. Action. That means we are performing some action. What action? Either you can click, you entered some text by using, or else you keep mouse on some image for enlargement, or you're doing like some XYZ operation by, let's say you're not entered username and password and click on certain, then the validations are going to be performed or not? Yes or no? Yes or no? Tell me. So all these are what we call it as action, and for each and every action method is associated. That method what we call it as a event handler. Technically it is event handler. Now what I want to do, whenever if user clicked on this button, that means every event is going to be used with the help of parenthesis. That is where I mentioned that also in the note. If you want, you can see we have one-way data binding. In that one-way data binding, if you can see here, component to the HTML the data are the approaches, but from the HTML user will perform an event. That means now user is clicking on where HTML and on the each one component. For that, what binding we are using? Event binding. Take a separate session because you have to understand mouse event, keyboard event, focus event, blur event, like that many. I'll explain you as much as possible. Not all, because we have around 30 plus events are available. We can't explain like everything, but approach is important. That is where learn the concept. Concept is important. Now what I can do, I'll go to here, I'll go to my HTML, use a click on here, then I wanted to execute previous, so that I'll be calling it. Same way, user click on here, when user click on this button, I wanted to execute the next one, so that I'll be giving the next over here. That's it. Now you see, I'll come to my application. Right now we are at the first. When user click on the next, now you see, am I able to see the data or not? But from where this data is coming? From the API. Now generally the API data is going to be like this. Okay, the API data is going to be like this. They are giving the data like this. As an Angular developer, what you need to do? You have to display like in this way. Understand? Do we have any complexity here in this example? Obviously no. According to me, no. But if you feel that it is complex, practice for 2 to 3 times, because going forward, you will see that example more than this. Okay. Definitely, we will be creating like, the whole project also in session itself within 1 or 2 days. That is where practice daily. That is where I told you, practice daily. No other options. You can see this is how it is going to be. A simple example it is. Okay. Clear everyone? Clear? Right. So that's it for the day. And we will continue tomorrow. I'll upload this one. Anything did I miss? Explain event handling. Right. Good. Event handling is something like, suppose let's say, I'll open the flipkart.com. Okay. This is the flipkart.com. When I open the Flipkart over here and say, okay, right. I open, let's say, mobile over here. That means when I click on, you can see what happened. Oh, right. Now you see, this is an application generally. Now you are able to see like this application, but when I keep my mouse on here, am I able to see that in a zooming effect, right? Yes or no? It's a zooming effect. When I keep on here, then automatically it changes, right? How this will work? How this will work? Because user is keeping mouse on. User is keep mouse on here. That means this is an image. When user keep mouse on this image, then I'll execute something in order to display this image. Right? Same way, here also what I am doing, here also, when user click on here, I'm having the mouse in my hand. When user click on here, click is what? Event, right? That means when user click on here, you can observe that when user click on here, what I am trying to do, I'm execute a function. What function I'm executing? Here, next click function. What this function will do, it increment the count and then get that product detail. That is the reason, if I'll be using fetch individual, how many times I supposed to write? One time in ng on in it, one time on the previous click, and one time on the next click, right? That is the reason what I have done. I created a method because I told you always reusability also we have to think out. Because it will reduce like, the maintenance efforts. That is the reason, right? Like 3 times If I write 3 times like this, then it is work definitely. But what about the maintenance? What about the standard? That is not standard if I write 3 times. That is the reason I created a separate method here. And this method will work when the component is loaded for the first time, and second, when user click on what? Previous button, and when user click on next button, then also I want to for that reason, I created a separate method and I get the data. Understood now what exactly event means? That means event is nothing but an action. Any action that you are performing, either you keep, it's a method. Ng on init is a method. It's a predefined method which will be executed automatically. Same question I explained. It is a predefined method which will be executed automatically. When the component is executed, this method will be called. This is something like load, page load. Okay. Now only if anyone wants to learn about that, okay, life cycle hook methods. Okay. If anyone wants to learn about that, just you see, okay, we have a documentation for that. You can learn ng on changes, ng on init, ng do check. Anyone who are having an interest, you can learn. Done. Next, in JavaScript, we have many types of event mouse like button, keyboard, yes, touch, and etc. It's the same event. All the events like whatever we have in Radha, we have it in the Angular also. But the only difference is in JavaScript we use what? On keyword, on click, on mouse over, on mouse over, like that. But coming to the Angular, it is square. I mean parenthesis. Without using on keyword, we use the same, almost same. Okay. So do we still need jQuery in Angular? That's up to you. If you want to do, yeah, life cycle hook, we have a separate session. That is where, but few people they are asking me what it is. Even though I explained 3 times, that is where I have given this. So you may go with that. Do we still need jQuery in Angular? One thing is, either it is jQuery or JavaScript, there is no difference at all. Without using the JavaScript, we can't build that application. That is where I suggest you better to have learn it. jQuery, it's a simple thing only. jQuery. JavaScript only difficult compared with Angular also. Angular is very easy. React is very easy. jQuery is easy. JavaScript is tough. That is where focus more on the JavaScript. jQuery will automatically understand. Right. That's it for the day. We'll continue tomorrow. If anyone have any issues with respect to the installation and while doing the practice, bring your laptops because it's Saturday tomorrow. Saturday only, right? Tomorrow it's Saturday, right? Bring your laptops tomorrow. I'll spend somewhat more time here to get clarify your doubts. Okay. Because 11 o'clock is my stand-up time and I am the organizer who run that meeting. If I'm not starting, all 50 members are waiting for me. That is the reason. So we'll start. If you have any doubt, bring your laptop. Tomorrow we'll spend some good time and get clarify your doubts. That's it for the day. I'll upload this also. Thank you and have a nice day.
Recording stopped.